Hi, it's Stephen here from Sound of an Ocean Wave, and this is day 15 of the October Daily Draw. So let's see what message we get today. And I'll be taking the first card from the Ghost Tarot, followed by an Oracle card from the Seasons of the Witch, Siren Oracle. So let's choose our first card and get the reading underway. Okay, here we go. And once again, we have the King of Swords. And this, I know, is one of the cards in the month ahead spread for this month. It's come out at least once, if not twice. And it's the card for number 2 card for in the spread for what we take forward into the month, which is the mastery of our thoughts and our plans and decision making and communication. Yes, it came out. It's come out twice. This is the third time in 15 days that this has come out. So it is of the cards in the spread. This seems to be a very key one, and a lot of the daily draws so far have been to do with the mind, our thoughts, getting the clarity we need, dealing with issues of decision making and of communicating, and so forth. So it seems to be very much this month so far, at least this first half of the month, almost half of the month, that we are focusing on the mind and our mental health, our mental well-being, our thought processes, our ability to communicate, as I said before. So that seems to be the theme, and this has come back again. The King of Swords, he's come back again to remind us of the need to be watchful over our thought life, to be watchful over the processes in our mind. We will, because if we don't, we can have instances where we had like the Nine of Swords, didn't we? And the Age of Swords, followed by the Nine of Swords, where limited thinking, certain perspectives can bring limitations and can lead to fears and anxieties, and that can snowball into something that doesn't help us. So what the King of Swords is reminding us is try and keep that clarity of mind, deal with any unhelpful thoughts, and focus on things that we know to be true, that are positive, that are constructive, that will take us forward. And when we do that, and when we take care of our mental health and well-being, and we use our minds constructively to work for us instead of against us, and same with our communications, that we express ourselves clearly in ways that are constructive and not harmful to ourselves or others, that build on what we want to achieve, that help us move forward and to grow and serve a purpose. And it's just being self-aware of our perspective, how we view things, and where we may need to change, where we may need to form strategies for our mental health. To me, one of the things that I find with my mental health is being careful about social media. Social media is useful. Social media can be used positively to connect and to learn, to get information, as long as they're discerning what information we're getting and where we're getting it from. But social media can also can be a source of negativity, an unhelpful sort of communication. And there's such a thing as doom scrolling. I don't fully understand the term, but I think it's just we keep going, and the things just things can then infiltrate our minds and take root there if we give them space. And the things that, if we're not discerning, if we're not careful about what we take in, the energy of them can bring us down, can, interfere with our clarity, can bring fear, anxiety through what we're inputting into ourselves. So one of the strategies is perhaps to limit what we look at online, what we watch or listen to on the TV, how much news we consume, just enough to perhaps to be aware of what's going on, but not too much that we get filled with all the different images and opinions, and that we give space for our own minds to form their own opinions, to get and to be discerning where we get the information to make sure it's accurate, to make sure that it's so we can form an opinion based on the truth, which is something that the King of Swords, when he's been a good King of Swords, because the King of Swords can have sort of so-called negative attributes, like we've got to be careful that we're not too calculating, that we're not too cold. Sometimes we can be a bit distant and a bit ruthless, which is what the King of Swords can appear if he's not careful. So we've got to be careful of going the other way, using too much rationality and not involving our emotional and spiritual engagement into things, coming at it with cold, hard logic, as it were. We can be logically and rationally minded, but if we go to the extreme and cut out everything else, then we become cold, distant, and our ability to communicate actually is lessened, because communication is not just about the words we say, but it's about other things, how we connect on other levels. So using wisdom in communication, using wisdom about what we let into our minds, so that we can have that fertile mind that can be productive in a good way, and just to watch what it is that we fill our minds with, and also how we sort of deal with different kinds of thoughts that are coming into our mind, and how we sort of assess them, and more or less cast aside the ones that aren't going to be helpful and focus on the ones that are, and that's how we can make progress. Okay, let's see which oracle card we get to go with that. And we have journey, and it is a journey, and we have the journey here, the path going into the distance. We have a path to navigate and how we're going to do it, and that's why we need that clarity of mind. Notice that this path is a little bit clearer. It goes into the distance, we can see so far, but some of the things are still too far. But we can see a bit more than on the moon card that we had. Things will become clearer as we go down the journey. And it's about honing our skills and abilities to be able to navigate the twists and turns of the path that we take. And to realize that it is a journey. This process of dealing with our thoughts is an ongoing journey, an ongoing process. And it's not a once and for all thing that we do in one sitting. It's a continual thing that we do. But when we do that, we get the clarity of mind to formulate our plans and our strategies for the way forward, and also to be able to communicate as clearly and express ourselves when we need to. And that is the benefit of doing all the things I've mentioned. And I did single out social media. There are other things we can do, but that was just an example of things we can do to, you know, do some good for our mental health. Okay, so that is today's message. I'll be back tomorrow with day 16. Until then, thank you for listening. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you all again very soon. Okay, bye-bye.